everyone. Welcome back to the Film Fund podcast. I'm your host, founder, and executive producer at the Film Fund, Thomas Verdi. I have the sun in my face today in my little home studio. We're just going to go with it. I'm an award-winning filmmaker, producer, and film festival judge. If I didn't say it yet, I'm founder and executive producer at the Film Fund, which I think I said. Too much coffee. Started the Film Fund to give filmmakers an easier alternative way to get their films funded. Instead of working on a screenplay, crowdfunding campaign, or grant application, you write one sentence pitching your film for a chance to receive up to $10,000 and other prizes to make it. Our fall 2022 narrative and documentary funding contests are open, so check us out at thefilmfund.co to enter your one sentence pitch for a chance to receive up to $10,000 to make your film. I want to remind listeners that contests do happen regularly, so if you are listening at a later date, check the website at thefilmfund.co for the most up-to-date information. Today, I have Arielle Friedman and Lucy Blumenfield on the show. I hope I said their names correctly. Usually I ask how to pronounce them before, but I forgot. So I think I did them correctly, though, because you're giving me thumbs up. So Lucy and Arielle, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Can you give us a little intro about yourselves? And while you do so, I'm going to fix the light because I'm looking at my camera and I look ridiculous, but I am listening.
Sure. Hi, I'm Arielle Friedman. Before coming to film, I was a professional ballerina for my whole life and danced professionally for 6 years, and then decided to stop dancing and go to college and started doing film in college and met Lucy, and we started making films together. And in November of 2021, I believe, we started a film production company called Phased Films with our other very good friend and business partner and creative partner, Camilla Grimaldi, who's wonderful. And yeah, we work mostly with short form content, music videos, narrative shorts, and recently started doing some development stuff, which is really exciting. And it's been lovely.
Very cool. And Lucy, do you want to go ahead too?
Yeah, I'm a writer director based in New York. Also produce with Phased Films, and I love doing music videos as well as narrative shorts. Yeah.
Awesome. And they are winners, or were winners, of the Film Fund's Kit Split gift card. It was $400 to help with camera. So I know it's been a while since you guys won. We just were talking about that before we were recording. It was over COVID, I believe. So you said you were in post-production before. What's the status of the project right now?
Just premiered online. We had a premiere with director's notes.
Oh, no
and
way.
now
That's
it's on
awesome.
Vimeo. Yeah.
Very cool.
Before that, it premiered like in theaters at Nifty, the film festival, which was really great.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I've heard of Nifty. That's oh my God, what's it called for it? National. You want to say it? It's like
National Film Festival for Talented Youth.
yes, cool. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll definitely have to send us more details about that and where you can watch the film and everything like that, so we can link to it for sure.
For sure.
Let's see
Yeah,
here.
it was.
Tell us a little bit about what the film was about.
Yeah, so basically, for me, the reason I was drawn to the piece, we didn't write it. It was originally a short play by the incredible playwright Callan Stout, and um, when I read it for the first time, I just felt so connected to it, and it felt like her writing so encapsulated kind of the pain of losing a parent while also trying to keep going with your life and not get stuck in the grief of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I had recently lost a parent as well, so I felt very drawn to it, and on a whim reached out to her. She was very gracious and agreed to work with us to adapt it to a short film. And yeah, that's just kind of how it got started as a project on our end. And it was a very personal film for me, and I felt very connected to it and very grateful for Callan letting us work with her beautiful writing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry for your loss, but I am glad that you were able to take that and actually, create something meaningful out of it. I think that's a super, healthy way to deal with grief, and inspiration comes from all places. So one of my questions on the list is, where do you draw inspiration from for your work? So obviously, in this case, took it from your own life experience, which I just think is so awesome. I'm a writer as well, and I've definitely processed things by writing them down, whether they turn into scripts or not. Just like just writing helps. Whenever I can't figure something out, I just usually write, even if it's just like a work thing. Like, here's the problem. Okay, I
Honestly,
write it out and figure out what to do. So that's so cool that
same.
you took that situation and turned it into something, and something you can share with other
Thanks.
people too. So it's so cool.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you're saying about writing. I think it's an incredibly cathartic experience, even if it doesn't become a film or anything, even just to have it, to let it out into a notebook. And I think it was very special for me to be able to make this film with a bunch of collaborators that I'm very good friends with and like love very deeply.
Mhm.
And yeah, just being able to work with people who are really wonderful and all cared and all just wanted to make something special together,
And did you
which was
shoot
really nice.
in New York City?
We shot in Long
Okay.
Island, and yeah, you asked the question about inspiration, and I think like for me, a big part of the inspiration was like how to take this short play and make it kind of bring it into the cinematic universe, and location was a big part,
Hmm.
and kind of this sparseness as like this surreal, almost like metaphorical landscape for where this is all playing out. So I was like in Nassau County, and I saw this parking lot with this abandoned Sears building, and I was like, this is where this story needs to be, not as like a real place,
Hmm.
but as kind of where she's experiencing all of that. So location was a big inspiration for me.
Yeah,
That's great. Yeah, using your
definitely.
environment,
When
to influence the story too is so important too. Is like, when you're writing, and again, whether it's for, I'm talking a lot about writing not for film, interestingly enough today, even though we're a film podcast. But when you're writing, whether it's for film or prose or whatever, I always like to think of the setting as kind of this. Sometimes it's a character in itself. It's dynamic and it has its own
yes,
nuances and traits and characteristics that really can contribute to the story, and make that so much more immersive. So
100%.
very cool that you guys, found inspiration from the locations as well. And you said you went to film school?
So we both met because we go to Columbia
Okay.
University, and we're both seniors and about
Oh,
to
cool.
graduate. But yeah, which is yay. But so not technically a
Another film
film,
school.
not technically a
Yeah.
film school, but definitely a film studies
Mhm.
program. And I think the emphasis on kind of film theory, especially within that program, at first I was like, oh, I wish it was a real
Mhm.
film school, but now I actually can really appreciate a lot of the film theory, and I think it's actually really strengthened my ability to think about the things I want to make in a very like
Mhm.
critical way, and kind of use a lot of the a lot of the films that we've studied in class and a lot of the things I've learned to kind of form my own artistic voice and like sharpen kind of my filmmaking tools. And yeah, so not technically a film
Well,
school,
they
but
have,
very, very
Columbia has the
valuable.
MFA program that I think is production based, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we met at we're in two different undergrad
Okay.
schools, and there's like no
Oh, wow.
production. But I will say that kind of was a blessing for this project. We had to seek out people who had more production experience, and everyone kind of was bringing their own piece to it,
Mhm.
and we were able to meet people outside of like our school community because
Right.
of that. And also like we didn't have the typical like constraints of a film program. Having to go through kind of all of that, all of
Mhm.
those like loopholes and all of that, and we were able to just kind of do it on our own, and I think it not having the production program really forced us to like, okay, we want to make films, like how are we going to do this, like let's
Yeah.
figure this out, and like just kind of made the learning process like a lot
Mhm.
faster for us in terms of production.
I completely agree. I think it also forced a lot of autonomy and like seeking out our own ways of learning, and like really forced us to kind of jump in feet first and kind of be like, okay, we got to figure
Mhm.
this out. And um, I think it kind of echoing what Lucy said, I think it allowed us to really develop a community of other filmmakers around us that we could not only work with but learn
Mhm.
from, which I think is so valuable. And um, yeah, like we never would have met Camilla if we had been in a film program. And I think
And
like
who was Camilla again?
sorry, she was the producer on this project, and then we started our production company, Phased Films,
Gotcha.
together with her. After, like, through this project, we all basically got to
I
the
know
end
you
of the
said that already.
project.
I'm a
And
bad listener today because I've been
no,
focused on this
no, no,
just
no,
pillar of light coming through my shades, and I can't stop talking about it because it's so distracting. But um,
no, you're good.
but
You're good.
that's so
Really,
cool.
no
I was
worries
the
at
same
all.
way. I didn't go to film school. I went to Lehigh University, and they finally got a film studies minor. So I did a film studies minor. Um, I mean, they were mostly English courses, and then they changed them to film studies by the time I graduated. But anyway, it was good because I had a lot of film theory, and I was able to take that film theory and really, it added another dimension to my writing, to my directing. Is like as I'm able to think about it, like I wouldn't consciously do, oh, I want to use this portion of film theory when I'm doing something, but it would make me think about it a little bit more and almost like analyze my own project critically. So I think film theory is super, super important. So I think, and the fact that you weren't forced into like a production program where you have to do those, certain procedures is, I can resonate with that as well. We didn't have any production. I think they had like a documentary program, but it wasn't very big. So I had to figure everything out and just like make it happen. So, but having that film theory
I
background helped a lot in terms of, creative and analytical side of things.
I
Very
will say
valuable.
that like we met Camilla. Camilla did go to film
Mm-hmm.
school, and so she was able to bring that knowledge. So we were like making sure we were doing everything
Mm-hmm.
safely and filling out the right permits and all of that. So like we did learn that through her, and that was really
Mm-hmm.
valuable too.
Where did she go to film school?
She went to NYU.
Did you say NYU? Connection cut out for a second.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, I cut out.
No,
I'm
we are
sorry,
all good.
guys.
I think we're back. Um, NYU is a very well-known school in New York, I am told. So that's awesome. And what is the status of the project? You said, I can't remember. I was so focused on that stupid light that looks normal now. I can't remember if we talked about that before we started recording or after. So we'll just say it again.
No, you're good. The film is officially out in the world. It premiered at Nifty in
Mhm.
2021, the festival there, and then it premiered online with director's notes very recently. And it's going to be featured on Beyond the Short
Oh,
very
nice.
soon. And yeah, it's on Vimeo. We can
Yeah,
send you the
definitely. We'll post that in the show
information.
notes. We'll do a social media
Yeah.
post about it. Would have loved some updates from you
Oh,
guys on your premiere status, but that's okay. It's
of
okay.
course.
We'll do it retroactively, and we'll post the link so everyone can watch it. That's so awesome. Can't wait to watch it. And the way the Film Fund works, you don't even need to pitch the title of the film when you're entering. It's really just the one sentence pitch about what it's about and how you would use the funding. So, what is the title of the film?
Yeah. So the original title of the play was
Okay,
much, much longer. So we put it down, and it's called Immutable Uncertainties, and it's about memory and kind of the fallibility of
cool.
memory and
And it's
all the
a drama.
things. So it
Nice.
is a drama,
So
yes.
while we're talking about
Sad.
the format of the film fund and the one sentence pitch, if you're okay with it, now that the film is released, I'm going to read the pitch sentence you entered with. Is that okay? Sweet. Some filmmakers are like super
Go for it.
protective of it, which I don't know. It's a short film. Like people worry about stealing IP and this and that, but I'm of the opinion like you need to talk about your work to really get it out there and analyze it and make the best of it. So here we go. Shot in reverse order, so each new joy is an unsettling experience of not remembering the past. Kirsten and Mark make memories together as Kirsten's mom loses hers to Alzheimer's. Funding is for camera. So they used a semicolon there to keep it one sentence, which is a great little tip for anyone listening. With the Film Fund, your entries do have to be one sentence. If they're two sentences, you're disqualified because attention to detail is very important as a producer, as a filmmaker, as someone getting a project off the ground. There's so many things you need to keep track of, so many hats you need to wear. So make them one sentence. Semicolons are fine. And they won the Kid Split gift card because their funding use was for camera, which made them eligible for the equipment category prize. So I love this sentence because it's so creative. It starts out and immediately says, okay, we're not going to do this normally. We're going to shoot it in reverse order. So that's something unique. And then it uses certain words like unsettling. That's such a great word because it evokes, the sense of conflict and things are not as they seem, and just puts the world in this state that's not solid. It's like, okay, something's wrong here. It's unsettling. and then they say, what's unsettling? Oh, the experience of not remembering the past. So there's a conflict right there too, like struggling to remember something. And then they create more memories to try to fix that, and then you have the sad, dramatic conflict of Kirsten's mom, suffering from Alzheimer's and passing away. So there's so much packed into one sentence here, as my little off the cuff analysis um, goes into. So great to have them as a winner. I can't wait to watch the film. And yeah, so tell us a little bit about writing that sentence, if you remember. I know it was a long time ago, but did you have multiple drafts of the sentence? Was this something you kind of just fired off?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This was like an hour-long process. Callan, the
Mhm.
writer, also helped us, and we really labored over this one sentence.
We really
Lots of
did.
different versions, making sure it was in
Mhm.
word count. It was
Yeah.
lots of conversations.
Really
Yeah.
trying to use punctuation in a way that allowed us
Mhm.
to say all the things we needed to say. I do remember vividly being on like a 2-hour
So funny.
Zoom call, the three of us, and just being like,
Right.
it's not within word count yet.
Awesome.
And then we finally got it in. And
Yeah.
so yeah,
Mhm.
it was definitely a process, but I do think exactly like what you were saying. I think attention to detail as a filmmaker and producer is incredibly important. And I think having to write that one sentence really forced us
Mhm.
to like boil it down, which I think is a very important skill to be able to have, especially in filmmaking, is to just be able to pitch it in a sentence. And so it was a very valuable experience. And I think laboring over a sentence, even though it's very hard, is a very important skill to have.
Yeah, totally agree. And we hear that from almost all of our winners. They say, how they say how challenging it is to boil it down to a sentence, to reduce it to a sentence. But I don't use the word reduce in like a negative sense. I know it kind of has that connotation, but almost like we'll talk about like food. If you're cooking something, you're reducing something into something else that's more efficient. And I don't know. I'm not a chef. I don't know what I'm talking about in terms of that, but just making it what it's about. The single plot, the concept of the story. What is your film about? For a short film, one sentence. What is your story really about? What are you trying to get across? That was the first feedback we got from Tim Viola, the first winner. God, almost 6 years ago now we've been doing this, and he said, it really helped strengthen our log line in terms of talking about the film. Like, what was his film Americano about? What was really about? What does patriotism mean in the United States, and what does it mean to be an American, and what is the American dream? And they didn't really. That was kind of all over the place, until they entered the film fund and reduced their narrative into one sentence as, oh, it's about freedom and what that really means and how that's being distorted. So it's always helpful, even with features, to have a log line to know where your home base is and what that central theme is. I always say, um, you don't go into writing with themes in mind, because then they kind of become forced. But once you write that first draft and then you go back, you're like, oh, okay, here's the central theme. Here are the notes I want to hit. And that can all be achieved by looking at that log line and by creating something succinct, which is super important. Like no one wants to listen to you talk for
Definitely.
30 minutes about your film, unless that's a subsequent meeting. You need to be able to pitch it in one sentence, or maybe two, when you're first talking to somebody. So glad you guys were able to do that.
Definitely.
I mean, yeah, I was gonna say, like, even for applications where we have like longer things that we need to write, we're always talking about like how we can kind of condense sentences. That like mentality has like followed us
I love
with
that.
every other application we've had to do since.
Yeah. And I think it's like, I mean, everything we're saying, it's an incredibly valuable skill for so many reasons, and especially when you're pitching something, because you have to be able to, with confidence and clarity and articulation, just like state what you're doing. And I think that's can be a very scary thing to do as a filmmaker, because you're like, but it's about all these and it's like you have to put a stake in the ground and you have to take a stand, and it's really important, especially when you're pitching.
Yeah. Even with like all of our like music video decks or like any other kind of decks and presentations, we're always like one big image, one sentence, next slide. So definitely
And what's the name of your production company again?
And
Very cool.
Phased
Are you
Films,
going to continue with
FAZED.
that full time after graduation? Oh, I love that. Yeah,
That's
Yes.
the
that's
plan,
great.
if we
So
can
you'll both live
swing
in New
it.
York
Yeah.
too after
Very,
college?
very excited about it.
Very, very cool.
Yes,
What?
both live here.
And you'll work on, you said music
Yeah.
videos, shorts. You're doing any commercial work too?
So at the moment, we're doing
Okay.
mostly music videos and short films,
Mm,
but
Also branded stuff
and
was kind of a
also doing some branded stuff. And I think we want
mm,
to go in the direction of doing more branded stuff. I also
mm,
just like love features and TV, so really working on my own writing and trying to get
mm.
some ideas I've had for a while on the page and flesh those out. And also
and
doing.
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I
No,
was
go
gonna
ahead.
say we're developing features with other writers to eventually produce those. So that's a really
That's
exciting
awesome. You have a lot
thing
going on. I love
that's
it.
been happening somewhat recently.
It's been yeah. I've
Mm,
found like so much joy in the development phase, especially like helping other writers and directors to kind of like we're talking about like get their ideas really clear and focused
mm.
and be kind of the best that they can be on the page and on screen. And so I think I am very much
Yeah.
looking forward to being
No,
able
that's
to
going to
put
be great.
all
And I
my
can
time
say,
and
someone
attention
who
into our production
owns their own
company.
business and does it full time, definitely stressful, but it's definitely rewarding too because you just have so much freedom to work on whatever you want. Like this morning, up until this call, I opened up a script I wrote, a feature. I wrote it like, God, maybe like 10 years ago, just like through college, just like in my spare time. And then I'm finally revising it. I got coverage on it like earlier this year in April. I haven't touched it since. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this. So having that freedom and that flexibility to like devote time to
Yeah,
doing something is so awesome. So yeah, I'm excited for you guys.
it is.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. I'm excited for
My
you
next
too. That's
question:
so
what
exciting.
are some of the major challenges in the filmmaking process for both of you?
In general or for
In
this
general, but I think
project in
talking about
specific?
this project specifically could be good as well. So, however you want to answer it.
Yeah. I think for this project, we were very concerned about
Mm,
getting enough money to be able to make it. And so the fundraising process was stressful, even though we were very fortunate to make our goal and be able
mm.
to make the film the way we wanted to make it. Something I do remember from
Oh no.
set itself was that it just kept raining and we were shooting
Mm,
outside and we needed to be outside. And so kind of the weather deciding to have her own
yeah.
adventure while we were shooting was quite a struggle. But
Another
yeah.
another unique challenge to this, we had to move a concrete pool table, like where the living room, there was like a pool
It was
table, and it was like
It was made out of
very,
concrete.
very heavy. Like we there was a we
Is that how they
it
make
was
pool
made out of
tables?
fully like slabs of concrete, and there
Oh my god.
potentially it was like a legit pool table. We just
Right.
didn't know if we were going to be able to move it out, but there was
Oh
like
wow.
5 people,
You never know
and we
what's gonna
did it.
happen on set.
So
Yeah, which is also you never know. So
luckily
yeah,
we
so
had
very
a prep day. That was important. Have an art prep day, very good,
Right.
so that
yeah,
we were not holding back production when we were moving
Yes,
this
prep
pool
days are super
table.
important.
yeah, yeah,
When you're budgeting,
yeah.
always try to budget in a prep day if you
Prep days
can.
are so important.
For art, my production designer gets mad at me because I don't always do that,
Yeah.
but it is super, super important and helps a lot on set.
It does, and it helps. It helps when you're actually shooting, like on the day of
Mm,
shooting for things to go a lot
yeah,
smoother because things are ready, and you just have to come in,
exactly.
set up lights, camera, and kind of go.
We also had like a really long pre-production process with this. So
Mm.
basically like almost 5 months of pre-production, including like getting the funding. And we've worked on projects where we've had a week of pre-production and like we can pull it off, but it was like really helpful, especially because for us this was like
Mm.
this was like our first like bigger project with like a real crew, real equipment. And so
Mm.
having that pre-production process was super important for this.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was an incredible learning experience to be able to not only have Camilla, our producer, who's incredible at what she does, um, guide us through and also teach us, but also have the time to be able to learn in a way that like those skills actually stayed with us and we could build on them so that it could be a foundation for us becoming producers and like eventually our production company and all the things. So this project was really foundational, I think, for the three of us and kind of the trajectory of our careers, what we want to do, our partnership creatively and business wise. Like it was
Awesome.
a very
I'm curious, how did you
foundational
handle the rain? Did you just
project.
wait it out? Did you end up shooting in the rain? Okay.
We just went in our car
Oh, wow.
and
We
just
put like plastic on the camera. We had some like
Mhm.
tents. It wasn't like heavy rain, but yeah, there was just a lot of plastic being put over pieces of equipment.
yeah, it was definitely enough rain for us to
Mhm.
be getting wet and then the equipment
Right.
getting wet. So we decided to definitely take care of
What
everything
camera did you
and
shoot on?
keep it safe and kind of wait for it to pass. And then it passed.
Oh, cool. And did you get that through Kit
It
Split?
was
The Alexa Mini. I don't
Yeah.
remember exactly what equipment we
Mm.
put towards what,
Gotcha.
because there was like a few
Very cool.
different vendors and stuff.
but we did end up
Oh,
getting
nice.
almost all of our equipment
Very
through
cool.
Kit Split
So
through
yeah, absolutely. So happy to
through
hear
the
that.
film fund. So
Kit Split's
thank
an
you
awesome
very
company.
much.
We love supporting them and
Yeah.
using their gift cards as prizes. So always exciting to see them being used. Then yeah.
They are very wonderful. We've used
Oh, very
them
cool.
quite a bit in our,
Awesome.
since then
And
and
then,
getting
so you
equipment.
said it was at
Yeah. So
Nifty, and then it
yeah.
premiered with director's notes online. Were you in any other festivals?
Direct, yeah. Not yet, but we're still applying. We're gonna do another little round of some things. I think
Yeah.
initially we wanted to just dip our toes in because I think it was our first real experience with kind of film festivals, and I think now we have a lot more confidence with kind of how to apply, where we want to apply, kind of what we want to do. So I think going forward we're gonna try and get it out there
Awesome.
more
Yeah, I'm currently
and see
submitting
how
a
it
short to
goes.
festivals, and we've gotten into
Yeah.
a few, but it's so like nerve wracking just waiting to hear back. And then some festivals, like if you premiere at one,
It's
they won't accept you for
overwhelming.
the other because they want it to be a premiere in that state. It's just so frustrating, but it's really expensive.
It is
Yeah.
frustrating. It's also so expensive as well. So I think it's really expensive, and I think the financial barrier is quite challenging. Of course, I understand why it exists, and I know that film festivals, of course, need to make money and all of that. So I understand why it exists,
Yeah,
but I think
definitely
also the
difficult.
financial
One
aspect of
tip
it is
to
quite
save some
challenging
money,
too.
we actually you have to spend some money, but it may help save some money in the long run. If you go on Film Freeway and you promote your project, you can get invites from other festivals, and they'll give you discount codes. So they'll say like they'll either send you a full fee waiver or like a 50% off discount code to enter. It's a little frustrating because as like we found some great festivals through it. Well, we haven't been to them yet, but what look like great festivals who have given us full fee waivers, and then other ones who have given us 50% fee waivers. And you would think, oh, they're asking you to submit with a discount, like they're interested. And we've gotten rejected by a couple of them. So it's like, did they just want our money and they asked us to
Yeah.
submit for the entry fee? I don't know. But we did find some festivals that gave us a full fee waiver that I
Yeah.
think might be worth it. So that's something to look into, like paying for like trailer. Yeah, they have a few different ones. We did like trailer of
Thank
the
you.
week,
That's such a
and then
great
like
tip.
something called Now Submitting. It's not that expensive. Like maybe the most expensive thing we spent was like $100, I think. The Now Submitting was like less than 50, I want to say.
Okay.
You do get a ton of like spammy festivals too, though. So it's like use an email address that maybe you don't mind getting flooded. Yeah, with like just these little
Some
scammy
spam.
festivals from like
Yeah.
Russia that will ask, and like India that will ask you to submit. I have a ton of them right now. Yeah, absolutely. That comes
Well, that's
from
a great tip. Thank you
one of
so
our
much. I
previous
didn't know that.
podcast episodes that we just released. I'm blanking on who it was. Claire Downs, one of our other previous winners. Yeah, she did that and found some interesting festivals through it. Yeah. What do you think about film festivals in general? Like, how was your experience at
That's
Nifty?
awesome.
Mm.
Nifty
Nifty
was
was
like It was
The
just
best
the best. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna top Nifty. Like we just
Mhm.
met so many. Everyone was just like wanting to meet each other, and everyone was so talented and had the most amazing films. And yeah, we've met
That's
collaborators
awesome.
from there. It was like it exceeded our expectations,
it
definitely.
was
Wow.
it was truly one of the best experiences I've ever had. I think it was like every every single filmmaker, all the programmers,
Mhm.
everyone was so supportive, like genuinely, not like truly genuinely. We would just talk to people in
Wow,
passing
that's
and they would
amazing.
show up. They
Where
came to
was
our
it?
screening at like 9 in the morning
Okay.
and like
And you guys went there?
just came to, it was in Seattle, and we went, and I was so
Mhm.
inspired by the other films and like the quality of art and just filmmaking and creativity that I was seeing, the breadth of diversity in stories, and like it was truly one of the best experiences I've ever
Oh,
had,
that's
and
awesome.
I will go every year till the day I die. Like
Mhm.
I no longer qualify because I'm 26 and you have to be 25 and under, but
Yeah,
I do not care. I will get myself a guest pass ticket. Like I will go every year, just truly to enjoy the
that's so
quality of
awesome.
work that they
Um,
celebrate.
yeah, because
It was really
some
phenomenal.
festivals you go and
Yeah,
like I was in this one
highly
festival
recommend.
and the festival director was just you could tell he was just in it for the money and like to get if you won an award you had to pay for the like trophy or whatever. It was so scammy. It was like why are you even doing this? So um but when you go to a good festival it's worth it. Like I've
That's
been at Dances
nice.
with Films a few times and that's
Yeah,
I love Dances with Films. They really care about the filmmakers. You know, everyone there is super interested in everyone else's project. I was at Chicago Film Festival just as a guest recently. That one was really cool as well.
that's
You know,
wonderful.
they had Q&As and all that kind of thing. So yeah, I love film festivals as well. It's just you have to make sure you're going to, you know, like a reputable one that actually cares about the filmmakers. Totally.
Uh, for sure, for sure, for sure.
Yeah,
Highly recommend
I
Nifty.
was recommended to submit to
It's
that as
wonderful.
well. I can't now, but years ago, you know, I've always heard good things about that fest. So definitely worth checking out if you are eligible. You have to be what 25 and under.
Yeah, 25 and under. I remember there was like
Hmm.
one of the programs was called
Oh,
like
that's fun.
Saturday morning cartoons. And
Hmm.
it was just all this animation stuff. And there was this one, yeah, it was so fun. And there was this one
Oh my
claymation
god!
short about bugs
Wow.
made by an 11-year-old. And it was
Hmm.
phenomenal. So, like, truly
Very cool.
apply
And
until you're
then, do you have any
25 if you
advice you'd give
can.
our
It's
community of
wonderful.
filmmakers? It could be about film festivals or just anything related to anything.
Just do it. Like we started, we were like,
Hmm.
we're not at a film production program, but we want to make films. Like, how are we going to do it? And so we just wrote something and then we made it. Like this before Immutable Uncertainties, we were just like, we're just going to do it. We like rented like a camera for like a really
Right,
cheap
right.
camera. I mean, not cheap, but not an Alexa Mini, and just kind of did it.
Hmm.
And that was so important for us as like the first step in making films and collaborating and working with each other. Um, just
Yeah.
do that and then go from there. I mean, everyone says that, but it's true. You just got to
No,
make a film.
but I agree. I think the biggest thing I learned from doing what Lucy just said was that like
Hmm.
even if I don't know how to do something yet, like I can learn. And I think like it can feel really daunting to try and enter film. I think it can be a very overwhelming space, especially with like all the technical
Hmm.
aspects of it that maybe you don't have if you don't go to a film school. So that was really daunting to me. And I think by just kind of trying to do it, I showed myself that like I do
Hmm.
have the ability to actually learn how to do something even without film school. And I think the other thing that I'm kind of learning that's been a lesson to me recently
Hmm.
is like don't be scared to just send an email. Like
Yeah.
there's absolutely nothing to lose and everything to gain. Like and I know it's really scary to just like send random people emails and
Hmm.
it can feel like really dumb to just be like no one's going to answer
Wow.
me. Um 9 times out of 10 I've gotten a response and it has led to new projects. It has led to getting involved in things that I'm really passionate about. And
gets you a 90%
so I think
response rate.
the lesson out of that,
Yeah, I'm
I'm just
learning from you because like I'm such a pessimist sometimes. I'm like, no one's going to respond, like it's going to be embarrassing.
That's awesome.
But a lot of good things have happened with that kind of outreach, and so I'm trying to change. I'm being very inspired by your kind of outreach, and I don't know.
well,
It's been fun
what kinds
to
of
learn
like
and
who
to
have you been
balance
reaching out
each other.
to? Like what kinds of
yeah.
events?
Well, I mean, so recently there was someone we met at Nifty whose film we really loved, and we didn't speak with them for very long, but we just kind of passed each other and followed each other on Instagram. And they have a wonderful short film that's in post-production that they needed some more money for, and they were doing a like Seed and Spark campaign for it. And I saw the trailer, and I don't know, just something in me absolutely fell in love with this project. And on a whim, I just sent him an email and I was like, hey, do you need any producer support? Is there anything I can do? I'm like truly in love with this. I don't know how I fit in any way, but if there's anything I can offer, I would love to talk to you about it. We spoke
That's awesome.
at length. I am now a part of the project, helping with posts and stuff like that. And it's a project that like means so much to me, even though I have only now just begun to work on it. And I think, and similar things happened with like a lot of the features we're developing at the moment, sending writers and directors emails being like, I love this short film that I saw you did. I love it. Like, do you have anything else that you need development help on? And so I think the biggest lesson that kind of I've gotten out of that is I have to trust my instinct, and I have to trust that like I can believe in myself, and I can put some power and energy behind the things I believe in, and I don't have to doubt of course doubt is a big thing, but I think that I can feel the doubt and then push past it a little bit.
You're getting such a high response rate because, at least in the first example, you met the person before, so it wasn't just a cold email. You had a connection with them already, and then you're also offering to help on their project. So it's like truly about collaboration. So definitely providing value, because like I'll get emails sometimes, and it's just like, someone emailed me. It was ridiculous. They said they already had $150,000 raised for their short film, and they wanted more. And I'm just like, I don't even remember what I said. So I was like, you could make so many short films with that, first of all. What are you doing? That's almost like a feature budget for a low budget feature.
So many short films with that.
And then they were just asking for money.
Yeah.
So it was just like, I mean, we are a film funding company, so I get it. But when you're reaching out to people, you need to try to provide value. That's not the best example because we are a company, and like we have a customer emailing us, so we have to handle that a little bit differently. But
I agree.
if you're emailing like a producer or something like that, to try just to network or advance your career, like always put yourself on their side of it. Like, how can I provide value to them? Which I think you've done a great job of in the examples that you shared.
Completely. No, I think that's an incredibly good point that you're making that is inherent to kind of how I try and think about emailing people. I think being able to be like, I love what you're doing and I want to do what I can to help you realize that, especially like as a producer, sending those emails. I think you're right. I think it's very important to be like, this is what I can bring. This is what I want to bring. This is what I see. And yeah, I think art is a beautiful thing. And if we're able to collaborate and help each other make something, that's kind of why I do it.
Yeah, I think for like thinking about Nifty, like it wasn't really just like networking. It was like, oh wow, there's all these people that want to do what I want to do, and we could do that together and like learn from each other. And that I think is definitely how you should approach like reaching out to people. Definitely not with kind of an ask, but like how can we learn from each other, because we're all doing this like separately. Like might save some time if we just like talk about our strategies and share creative ideas. And I think that's kind of the way
Yeah.
to approach outreach. And everyone says this, but like make friends, like friends. That is where our like
Mhm.
deepest collaborations have come from, with people that we really just like enjoy spending time with and really
Totally.
just
Yeah. It needs to be a two-way
appreciate
street,
their
and like
creativity and
work
their
with people you
ideas.
like. People work with people they like. People hire
Exactly.
people they like. Um,
Totally.
we're for FF Branded, the Film Fund's sister agency where we do our branded work. Our first big gig was with Comcast, and how we got it was I I was on a film festival committee with someone who worked at Comcast, um, and they needed video work done for a nonprofit that they were donating to. And she liked me, and we had a relationship already. Working on the film festival committee, so we're like, oh, I'll go with Tom because I know him. I know he does good work, and like we have that relationship there. It's a lot easier once once you know someone and once you know how they work and
Yeah,
who they are. So yeah, always make friends because you never know where that's going to lead. So my final question: what
definitely.
is next
Definitely.
for both of you in the next year or so?
So, as a company, we kind of already touched on this, but working towards more music videos, branded content, and also like developing narrative projects, whether that be features or our own shorts.
Mm-hmm.
And then personally, yeah, I love music videos, so just trying to hone that skill
Mm-hmm.
and get more into directing branded content,
Love that
and also
attitude. Yeah,
writing.
very cool.
All of it. See what happens. Yeah.
Yeah, I echo everything Lucy's saying. I think in the next year, I find so much joy out of producing and kind of development and all of that stuff. And as much as I love it, I also want to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that I pour some time into my own creativity and my own writing. And so I think in the next year, as well as continuing to do all the things with Phased, I think I'm also
Mm-hmm.
going to dedicate a good portion of my time to my own writing and my own ideas and also feeding my creativity so that I can also, because I
Yeah,
think I'm a better producer when I'm also, able to kind of express myself and do my things. And so I think
I
finding a
love that. Yeah,
balance
I
with
mean,
that
you're
is
gonna be
my
better at whatever
my
you're
personal
doing
goal
if
for
you're
the next year.
also. This sounds so corny and cliched, but like feeding your own soul and like harnessing your own creativity. You always need to be working on stuff that fulfills you because you're just
Yeah.
going to be happier in life and it's going to make your
Yeah,
job a lot easier and you're going to have
I
more
agree.
skills to bring to the table when you're doing something for
I
work. Yeah.
agree.
No, I was done.
And also I think it sorry, not to cut you off. I also think it helps like sharpen your skills as a producer
Mm-hmm.
and as a director to like constantly be thinking and like mulling things over and kind of
Mm-hmm.
deciding what you like, because I think that's a really important part of it too.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
yeah, or not even just film. Like I've been doing a lot more, like
Mm-hmm.
I think we talked about this before, like not like just nonfiction writing, journaling, getting
Mm-hmm.
back into photography, just because I realized I'm like, what am I drawn to? Like what are the types of stories that I want to tell? Why am I doing this? And just like giving myself the space and kind of being patient with myself. Be like, okay, I don't need to be writing all the time. Let
Mm-hmm.
me figure out what I want to be writing and why I want to be doing that, and hoping something will come from that, which I think it will.
yeah, I totally
Yeah. No, I think it's important to lead a full life. Like I've been getting into photography again as well, and it's not like it's something I love because it's not for work. Like I see screenwriting and working on the film fund, developing projects, like, oh, that's my career. Like I love it and I'm passionate about it, but there's stress there. But photography is like totally something
yeah,
non-commercial, totally just something fun. I shoot on film and get it developed and scan it.
yeah,
It's like, oh, this is like
Yeah.
just for me.
Photography became a
And it doesn't
job, which is
matter.
why I
Like
stopped doing
maybe I'll
it. So
release.
I'm trying to get back in like a lot more
Okay,
intentionally.
okay, yeah,
So I definitely hear that.
yeah.
yeah. I think also for me
For
personally,
sure.
I I've made art my career kind of since I was a
Hmm.
child, and I think while that is so wonderful and I would never want it any other way, I do think it does invite a lot of stress, like you're saying. And so I think, especially when you care about the thing that you're doing and you're so passionate about it. So I think I recently, like in the past 2 months, decided that I was going to try to learn the piano, not for any professional reason, but like truly
Nice.
just to like do something for me. And it's been such a joy to come to something and learn how to do something without any expectation or pressure. And I actually think it's really informed how I go about doing my professional work, because I've been able to show myself that I can be incredibly productive and creative without this like looming stress or pressure. And
Yeah.
even though that's inevitable when you're doing something for your career, I think there definitely is a way to find a better balance so that you can be happy. Because I think like that's key,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely agree. We're just on the same wavelength today. Like, I also started taking piano lessons because I wanted something not. I mean, I initially started a couple of years ago because, like, oh, I can use this for film
That's what I
scoring
did
later
too.
down the line. I was like, wait, yeah. I was like, you know what? Why don't you separate it? Everything doesn't need to be about
Exactly.
film. Someone told me once, I was like talking about ideas I had, and they're like, Tom, you know, everything doesn't need to be a company, right? I was like, that's a good
I
point.
am so glad you
But
said that, because
yeah,
I am having a very similar epiphany where I'm like, not everything I do has to be for my job. Because initially I was
yeah,
like, I'm going to learn piano so I can score films. And then I was like, that's so
exactly.
stressful. Why am I why am I doing that? Like,
Right? Yeah. I just want to learn piano so I can play in a jam band on the
right.
weekends. Like,
I
that's
just
what I
want to
want to
learn
do.
piano so that for
So,
like 30 minutes a day, I can take a deep breath and just do something for me. You know what I mean? Like, so
yep,
yeah.
exactly. Well, guys, that was super awesome. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me today. Do you have channels on social media
Yeah.
we can check out your work?
My personal Instagram is just at Arielle Friedman, ARIELLE_Friedman, FRIEDMAN underscore.
Yeah, my Instagram is just my name, Lucy Blumenfield, BLUMENFIELD. And our company's Instagram is phased, FAZED .films. Also,
Awesome.
phasedfilms.com
Thanks.
if you want to see all our work. Yes.
Phasefilms.com. Check it out. And I want to thank all the listeners for tuning into the podcast. And I want to remind you that our fall narrative and documentary contests are open. So check out thefilmfund.co to submit your entry. You could win up to $10,000 for your film, including prizes like Kid Split gift cards that Arielle and Lucy won to help with their film and pay for their camera equipment. Also, check the website regularly for the most up-to-date information. Check out our blog at blog.thefilmfund.co. Great filmmaking and producing tips. Check that out. Sign up for our newsletter and follow us on social at the Film Fund on Instagram, Simply Film Fund on Twitter, Facebook.com/FilmFundCo, and the Film Fund on LinkedIn if you want to be super corporate, which I don't really think any of you do, but we're there anyway. We also have an ebook on our resources page. Go to thefilmfund.co/resources for the ultimate guide to pre-production. I want to thank everyone for listening or watching. If you're checking out our video feed, you can see me finicking with the lighting all throughout today's episode because we had a ton of sun. I look kind of normal now, so thank God for that. And yeah, tune in, let's say, every other Friday for new episodes. Arielle, Lucy, do you have anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
Just thank you
Thanks so much for having us.
thank you so much for having
For
us.
sure.
And definitely
Yeah.
everyone should apply to the Film Fund. It's wonderful and it really helped us get our film made. So thank you.
Awesome. Check us out. Check them out. We'll include their short film link in the show notes, and we will tag them when we release this episode. So thanks, guys. I'll talk to everyone soon.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Bye.